What is up, guys? Delboy here. So breaking news coming out of the light heavyweight division. The WBO have ordered Sergey Kovalev to defend his title against mandatory challenger Anthony Yarde. I was kind of expecting this news. Frank Warren did kind of insinuate that this fight would be ordered very soon, and it has been. Both fighters have 30 days to negotiate a deal, and that brings us to April the 12th. If there has been no deal agreed by April 12th, the fight will then go to purse bids. I think this is very interesting. First and foremost, will this fight actually happen? Is Frank Warren going to roll the dice and chuck Yarde in with Kovalev? Anthony Yarde's level of competition so far has been poor, to say the least, and most people out there would say he isn't ready for Kovalev. Is Frank Warren going to chuck him in with Kovalev and take the gamble, or are we going to get some funny business? Is Anthony Yarde going to pick up a mystery injury, or is some skullduggery going to happen to prevent this fight for a little while further? It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. At this stage, I'll be honest, I've found Anthony Yarde's career kind of frustrating, but I'm just at the stage now where I just want to see this fight. I want to see how good Anthony Yarde is. And listen, Kovalev is a mountain of a challenge, and Yarde hasn't really fought any fights to prepare him for a fight of such magnitude. But maybe, just maybe, Yarde is the best kept secret in boxing. Who knows, it could be a possibility. Me personally, I'm bored of waiting, so I kind of want to see him in there with Kovalev. Let's see what happens. I mean, let's say worst case scenario, Yarde goes in there with Kovalev and gets beaten. He could even get beaten decisively. I mean, he can kind of brush that off and say, do you know what, I wasn't ready. I didn't have the right preparation fights and I took the jump too soon. His team could spin that narrative and then sort of come again. Yarde losing to Kovalev isn't detrimental to his career. Not in my opinion anyway. If he loses to Kovalev, it's kind of expected at this stage. So, listen, if Yarde takes the fight and loses, which I expect, then he can come again. It wouldn't be the end of the world. So maybe if the purse is big, maybe it's worth a gamble. Maybe it is. And if Yarde does somehow win, let's say he lands the perfect punch and knocks out Kovalev, or lands that perfect body shot that cripples Kovalev, and he actually wins the fight, then the gamble will be worth it. So at this stage, I'll be honest, I just kind of want to see Yarde chucked in at the deep end. If he's not taking gradual step-up fights, then the alternative is either him fighting absolute nobodies for the foreseeable, or him jumping in there with a killer. I prefer the second option. Chuck him in there with Kovalev, let's see what happens. Worst case scenario, he gets knocked out, he can come again. Best case, he beats Kovalev, in which would be one of the best wins for a UK fighter in some time. So, let's get it, let's go for it, let's see what happens. I'm actually more receptive to this fight now than I was previously, and I'll be honest, low-key, I kind of want to see it happen next. Just to see how good Yarde is. Will the fight actually happen? I mean, there could be some funny business. I wouldn't be surprised to see Yarde squeeze in an interim fight. That could be a possibility. I'm not holding my breath that this fight happens next, but, it's been ordered. Yarde said he would take that fight if it presented itself. Let's see if it happens, I guess. I mean, if Yarde does get knocked out and he does get beat by Kovalev, then a lot of people will be kind of questioning the matchmaking by Frank Warren. But, if the gamble pays off, then Frank Warren and Team Yarde look like geniuses. Kovalev isn't the fighter what he was, but I still feel he is a formidable test for anybody at light heavyweight right now. And listen, despite all of the criticism I've given Anthony Yarde in recent months, if he does take this fight, I will give him credit, because I think this is a jump up in quality of epic proportions. I really do. You don't usually see fighters take jumps this big. I mean, the gulf in class from Kovalev to guys like Travis Reeves and Darius Sek is crazy. Guys like Darius Sek and Travis Reeves are not in the same stratosphere as Sergey Kovalev, so it's a massive jump up in quality from Anthony Yarde if he takes this fight. And like I said, if he does, I will give him credit. I may not think he's ready for the fight, but I certainly wouldn't, criticise him for stepping up and taking it, because at the end of the day, Kovalev has been one of the standout light heavyweights of this decade. I mean, he first became champion in 2013, so Kovalev has been a stalwart in the light heavyweight division for quite some time, and if Yarde does actually fight him, I will give him credit. So yeah, they are my thoughts. Will it happen next? We will see, but interesting news to say the least. And also, another thing, just before I end the video, I would love to see Kovalev back in the UK. If this fight happens in the UK, I will be very tempted to go and see it, because, it's not often we have the likes of Kovalev coming over to the UK to fight. I actually saw Kovalev in Wales when he fought Cleverly, and that was a really, really enjoyable experience. I really enjoyed his performance that night, and listen, I would love to see him again before he retires. So yeah, share your thoughts below. What do you think of this news? Peace.